a very happy Christmas and a great New Year. And thank you for all of you for your continuous support and care.
Kate bush is something you trim in your yard in the summertime. Wakey, wakey. I've been a long-time fan of Kate, and it is so nice to see Kate break in North America with her new Hounds of Love album. Kate signed to EMI Records at the tender age of 16. Her albums and singles automatically go #1 in her native Britain, where she's come to be known as the innovator of dance, theatrics, and music. With Hounds running up that hill, climbing every chart, she's now enjoying and capitalizing on her first major North American success. On behalf of Good Rockin' Tonight, Nan Devitt talked to Kate about why she left school to study dance and mime.
I think that actual decision about going for it was just before I left school, and that's why I left school. I didn't feel that I could get what I wanted out of school anymore in a way that was going to encourage me getting involved with music. I really had to leave and go into a more artistic kind of lifestyle, and dancing was a particularly good one to choose, I think. Well, when I left school, I knew very much that I wanted to go into the music business, that's what I wanted to aim for, and I wanted to do something that would fill my day, that would be a good discipline for me, and that would be complementary to the music. And dance was something that I'd only just discovered recently at that time, and I felt that there was a whole world of expression there that I'd not experienced, and that perhaps the combination of that with singing would make an interesting performing vehicle. So I started training with a mime artist called Lindsay Kemp, who was a very big inspiration for me, and then started dancing at a school, and since then, really, through the videos, the dance has been an incredibly useful thing for me. As I've gradually gone through the business, I've become much more involved in other areas, and I found that when I worked in the studio, there were all these areas that were connected to the song that were changing it in a way perhaps that I hadn't intended when I was initially writing the song. And I felt that a natural progression for me was to get involved in production, so that then I could take much more control over the whole thing, and therefore end up with a result that I felt was my expression rather than an indirect expression through lots of other people. And again, that was a gradual thing where I went into co-production, and finding that to be pleasing and quite successful, went into producing solely.
And since then you've built a studio in your home. Can you tell me about that?
That's right. Again, that was another sort of realization on the last album, that as I was producing and getting closer to the whole thing, I found that the way I'm working now is so experimental. It takes me a lot of time. I like to play around with ideas. And in a commercial studio, it's costing so much money every hour that I found that was becoming anti-productive. I was so nervous because I shouldn't be taking so much time playing around with things, that it was stopping me trying things. And we felt the only way really to cope with this was to have our own studio. And then also I'd be able to write in the studio and just do as much as I could there and make it all part of the same environment. He's very understanding, so aware of all my situation. When I stay up late, he's always waiting, but I feel no hesitation. Oh, I'm so worried about my love. They say no love won't last forever. And here I am against my gun, wondering what on earth I was doing here. Maybe he doesn't love me. I just took a trip on my love for him. He's here again. During the gap between the last and this album, I'd seen quite a few videos on television that other people had been doing, and I felt that dance something that we'd been working in, particularly in the earlier videos, in quite a full way, was being used quite trivially. It was being exploited. Haphazard images, busy, lots of dances, without really the serious expression and wonderful expression that dance can give. So we felt how interesting it would be to make a very simple routine between two people, almost classic, and very simply filmed. So that's what we tried, really, to do a serious piece of dance. I think until this album, I've always treated them as individual songs, and you just work on one at a time, trying to do the best you can to get the best atmosphere across. But with this album, I really wanted to try a conceptual piece, something I'd wanted to do for a while but hadn't really gone for. And I felt rather than making a whole album of it, it would be interesting to have a side that was conceptual and then make the other side a kind of counterbalance. And it was a lot of fun working like that. I'm so used to working on a piece of music that's no more than 5 minutes long. And although these are individual songs, they're all linked and they all have the same theme and atmosphere. So you're definitely working within one entity, and it was very challenging.
But you decided not to do the whole album as a concept.
Yes. I think there were a couple of reasons for that. One, I felt that half an hour was a good length of time to get involved in the story, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to make something sustain over a whole album, and that I stood a better chance of doing that with one side of it. And also I wasn't sure if it was even going to work until I'd written a few of the songs, so it made sense for me to secure myself by writing a couple of other songs for the other side while I was working on that side.
What do you think they'll do next?
I don't know. It's a very strange point in time for me here, where I'm in the middle of promoting the album, and we'll be making videos for the next singles next year. And sometime during this period I have to decide what I'm going to do next. There are a few things that attract me equally. Going straight into another album is something that I have a lot of enthusiasm about. And perhaps turning the conceptual side of this album into a film is an idea I'm toying with. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see what I'm feeling like at the beginning of next year.